Well, this is the first crochet video I've ever made. We shall see what it's like. I did a pattern for my baby a while ago. It's just a shrug, just a little shrug, and that's what I've called it, just a shrug. And somebody's asked me to make a video for it, so I'll give it a go. Now I'm using double knitting yarn and a 4mm hook. And if you're making this for a very small baby, I would use fingering weight yarn or 4-ply and a 3.5 or maybe even a 3. I'm just using some acrylic here as well. And I would say for a smaller baby I'd use something a bit softer, maybe an acrylic cotton mix, which will also stretch a bit. The pattern as I've written it is just how I did it, so we'll have to find out if I can actually do it again. So let's start. Start with chain 33, so you've got your slip knot. 1, 2, 3. So 28, 29, 30, 31. So what we're doing here is we're actually making the sleeve, because the shrug is just, it's knit like a rectangle this way, and then you just sew up the sleeves there, and you have a shrug. It's a very basic design. So I'm going to knit double stitches. I'm trying to use American terminology. So in the 5th, I count this stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to be crocheting into the back loop. Can we see the back loop? You don't have to. You can go into the top 2, you can go into the top 1. I just am doing it into the back loop because I find it easier to count my stitches that way. So I hope you can see this. This is my son's camera and I don't really know how to use it or how to change anything on it. So we're doing 5 double stitches. Excuse me if I mess up and start saying treble when I mean double and double when I mean single. Then we're going to miss 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and go into do a single stitch into the back of this one. And then skip another 2, 1, 2, and do 5 doubles. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't know these individual stitches already, I would suggest going to like the videos on YouTube, of which there are so many: Crochet Geek, Crochet Central, Crochet Corner, to practice the individual stitches. So here's 1, 2 again, and I'm going to do a single stitch into here, and then skip 2 stitches again to make another shell. 1 double, 2 doubles, 3 doubles, 4 doubles, 5 doubles, and after 2 more stitches, another single. My yarn is splitting. It's because it's really inexpensive acrylic. Get some of the leftover Style Craft special that I have from making the granny stripe blanket for my 3-year-old. That's from Attic 24, Lucy from Attic 24, her website, which is a brilliant website. Skipped 2 again for another single there. We've got a single in there. The stitches are pulling a bit, but that's okay because when it's on, the sort of gappy bits don't show. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry if I keep going out of focus, but I'm not wearing my reading glasses. So I keep pulling it closer to my face, which is not good for the camera. But this is just supposed to be a basic how-to for somebody who's asked for it. And then in the very last stitch, there is a single. For some reason, on my blog on the pattern, I wrote you'll have a treble in this one, but you don't have a treble. So you end up with 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shells. Now, because I'm lazy and I don't like weaving in ends, I start with the border and then turn it around and start knitting the rectangle this way. So this is where the pattern starts. Again, on the pattern on the blog, I say to start doing the pattern straight away, but actually it's a good idea to do a row of single crochets first. And these, and I've made a handful of these shrugs, and I've never been particularly exact about where the stitches go into. 1, 2, 3. Because it's knitted from side to side, it's crocheted from side to side, you'll end up at the other end with the same amount of stitches that you start with. So you don't even really have to count the stitches. But I think that doing this row of single crochets into the bottom of the foundation chain that you've just done your shells into makes it a little bit stabler. Hope you can see this. I'm not sure I'm going to be making a habit out of this doing video tutorials because there are so many people who do it really, really well. And while I can crochet just about anything I want to set my mind to, I cannot deal with the technology to get it up on YouTube. So can you see how we're going into the bottom there? So it's almost like you're making another foundation. This is your foundation row for your actual pattern, and you've just got the border on it already. Alternatively, you could just do a foundation chain or a beginning chain, about 30 stitches, and start knitting or start crocheting from there, and then add your shells, or you could do some picots, any kind of border you want. I do it this way so that I don't have many ends to weave in, as I said before. These are single crochets, if I didn't say that already. I learned to crochet in America. I grew up in America. Spent the first 20 years of my life there, and I've spent the next 20 years in England. So I go back and forth between what terminology I use when it comes to my crochet. So there you are. Remember you had you crocheted into the fifth stitch from the chain, so you want to be sure that you pull this shell out a little bit, like that, and not just go into the base of the double crochet that's there. Continue along on the chain, so that when you come to fold it, to sew it up, these will meet and look like there's a single there in between all of those doubles.